Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Sweet. The mic is open and the stream is on, and we are about to start. Remember to turn on the TV for me. Oh, shoot. I was hearing myself a little bit. Gracias.
What would you say to the president if he's sitting right here?
I would never sit across from him.
You would never? You didn't want to talk to him?
Nah. I sit across from Barack, though.
Weak. Good morning, guys. We're about to play the intro. I don't hear the intro. There we go.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys. Today we're going to be talking about LeBron James's empty promise of education, which is dumb, because he's dumb. But not as dumb as the dumbest man on television, Don Lemon.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, la la la.
So good morning, guys. I am James Hake, the Hake Report, and I will be taking your calls at 888-775-3773. And today, I have a very helpful call screener. So thank you. Appreciate that. So I wanted to talk about this Don Lemon guy. Not Don Lemon, LeBron James specifically, but a little bit about Don Lemon. LeBron James triggered me this week because I woke up on like Monday or so, and he had this interview with Don Lemon of CNN, and they were just supposedly talking about their school that he was opening up called the I Promise School out of his hometown of Akron, Ohio. But, by the way, you can play that second clip anytime that you want to. Just surprise me. And it can be late in the show, whatever. There's a second clip in the folder. I think you'll see it. It's a random kid? Yeah. So LeBron James is a Trump hater, and you probably all know about him. He wore the I Can't Breathe t-shirt. He gave a Black Lives Matter speech along with Dwayne Wade and two other guys, Carmelo Anthony and some other guy, Chris Rock. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't Chris Rock. But he is basically a Black Lives Matter Obama supporter, and his mother is his hero, according to Don Lemon, whose mother also is his hero. Because Don Lemon said, and if you watched Jesse Lee Peterson show, you caught that these guys were both raised by single mothers, and their mothers are their heroes. And that's kind of gives you an indication of how these people think. In fact, come to think of it, the most liberal people I know, and angriest people I know, and pretend to be most compassionate people I know, are all sons of single mothers. They are all like, man, like it's really bad. Like I'm thinking back to my high school days and post-high school, my high school friends, and they are some of the most like vicious but wannabe loving people that you can think of. And I'm not talking about AJ, the man who wrote the Hake Report. So don't be thinking that I'm talking about you, AJ. AJ wrote, "Oh, it's the Hake." Don't play it. Report. He wrote that song. And he was on my show on Christmas Eve last year. But I'm just thinking about the most radical liberal guys. And they are children of single mothers, much like, and angry, hateful. They hate Trump. They love Obama. And Obama is another child of a single mother. They think just like Don Lemon and LeBron James. And Trump tweeted I have Trump's tweet. He tweeted yesterday morning, I believe, that LeBron James was just interviewed by the dumbest man on television, Don Lemon. He made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. I like Mike. And I think he's talking about Michael Jordan. He reminds me of Jesse, that he has these throwback references that he probably maybe still thinks are present day culture. There's probably a whole generation or two that don't understand that reference. I like Mike. But I think that's what he's talking about. I don't even really understand it. But but that's what I like about President Trump and Jesse and all these old school guys that are very lively and very much themselves and very honest and call out evil for what it is. There's this former Young Turks journalist named Michael Tracy who said, I still am not violating my rule, even for LeBron James, of not getting involved with President Trump's petty tweet battles or whatever. But it's not a petty tweet battle. This is an important point. And he actually, Donald Trump said that Don Lemon is the dumbest man on television, and I wouldn't have thought that. But when you think about it, Don Lemon sat there on his cable TV show saying, the president is a racist. There's no more pretending that he's not. And he goes through all these phony examples of racism where Trump was actually mostly telling the truth, and some cases he was just being misconstrued. Do I look kind of blue? That's all right. He was kind of being misconstrued by, not kind of, for example, Don Lemon gave this example of Trump saying that Mexicans are rapists. First of all, he didn't say Mexicans are rapists. He's saying the people that Mexico is sending here are rapists. And they are. If you deny that, you're gonna sit there and say that nobody who's come up through Mexico to America has been a rapist. You're really gonna sit there and say that? Now, they're going to turn around and say, he was saying all Mexicans are rapists, but he didn't say that. He said they are rapists. And if any of them are, then they are. Doesn't mean all. So anyways, he's saying that that's racist when it was actually a true statement. And he's rattled off all of these other things. When Trump called out Khizr Khan, who was the father, the Gold Star, so-called Gold Star father of the soldier who died in battle, the Muslim soldier who died in battle. And Khizr Khan tried to hold up a constitution saying, Donald Trump, I think it was in reference to the Muslim ban. We need to ban any more Muslims from coming into the country. And Trump did change his mind on that. But it's not a bad idea because we've had a lot of attacks by Muslims. And they're disproportionately the terrorists in this country. People want to say white people are the most terrorists in this country. And you would think that they were, because white people are 60 to 77% of the country if you include the Hispanics and there are many Arabs that are counted as white, by the way. But when you look at it, like the FBI most wanted list, most of them are Muslims. And then there's like one black woman who like killed a cop, I think. And then there's a couple of white guys. There's maybe some Hispanics. But the Muslims they have a terrorist problem in their community. And there's no denying that. So anyways, that makes Don Lemon the dumbest man on television, because he's telling a whole lot of dumb lemmings that the president is a racist, and they believe him. And he used to be somewhat fair-minded. He used to be acting like, oh, the black community needs to step it up because 72% or 73% of their children are born out of wedlock. And he was even called Uncle Tom or Coon or whatever for that. But it turns out that he actually has been totally triggered, and you'll notice this too. You'll notice among a lot of people who act like they want what's right. Later on, they get triggered by something a strong man like Trump says, and then they just totally turn a 180 against everything good. They're just off the deep end. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. And LeBron is opening up his I Promise school in Akron, Ohio, but he's teaming up with a bunch of liberals to promote quote-unquote education for challenged youth. But he promotes really victimhood. He's said repeatedly that no matter how successful you are, no matter how much money, what you do for your community, they're always going to let you know that you are the N-word. And he's reacting in part to the gate, his gate up in Brentwood, supposedly being painted with the N-word. Somebody who's a fan of our show says that he did see a picture of it. So I guess it did happen. But God knows who actually did it. You'll notice that most of these cases of so-called hate crimes, and which these hate crimes are not even really hate crimes, they're just crimes. They're just, many cases, they're just vandalism. His gate was vandalized. And the people who are doing the most vandalism is blacks, Hispanics, radical homosexuals. There's this one case where a radical homosexual anti-Trump guy tagged up a church, and I think it was like a black church or something, maybe an Episcopal church, but whatever. And he might have been even the organist, but he tagged up the N-word on this church because he was trying to discredit Trump supporters. And so you'll notice all of those reported hate crimes, most of them turned out to be, in fact, there were like synagogues that got bomb threats, and it was perpetrated by a Jewish kid in Israel. I think he got arrested. There are so many fake hate crimes. They call them hate crime hoaxes because it's so common. It's probably more common than the so-called hate crime itself. And hate crimes are a farce anyways because they count like 0.1% of all violent crimes as hate crimes. So they don't count all of the black on white crime that is happening across the country, and black on Asian, and black on Hispanic, and Hispanic on black. Hispanic on black crime is the dominant hate crime in the Los Angeles area, though, I might add, because Hispanics have been targeting, and this is year after year after year, for those who believe in hate crimes. They don't exist because all crime is from hate. But anyways, back to LeBron. Oh, and speaking of the illegals with LeBron and Don Lemon, Don Lemon pretended to care about the illegal alien children who were separated from their families, and LeBron, of course, pretended to care too. These people are they're just opposing Trump in all reality, and they're opposing America. They think that they're doing good, but they're promoting victimhood for children and anti-Americanism for children. And these people are teaching black kids this stuff, that you're always going to be reminded that you're an N-word no matter how successful you are, but you just can't let it get you down. It reminds me of these black Republicans, these phony black rhino people who say, you'll see them on Twitter. I've seen them on Twitter anyways. Jesse has made the point that most blacks, even including black conservatives, so-called black conservatives, hate whites still hate whites. And you'll notice that they'll say, we want to succeed in spite of racism. And so that's just a sign that they still hate white people. They're just blind, because anybody with eyes can see that the hate is more directed toward whites in this country than toward blacks. And the hate that is coming onto blacks, they're bringing it on themselves, including, by the way, the illegal aliens and Mexicans who hate blacks. The blacks are bringing that on themselves because they're voting in the people who are supporting amnesty. And we've been voting in people who support amnesty too, so we're partly to blame, but no more rhinos, only Trump types. So that's good, that we finally have President Trump slapping down the dumbest man on TV, Don Lemon, who made LeBron James look smart, which is hard to do. I'm going to get to the calls, but I wanted to point out a couple more things. I was interviewed by Toshon of Truth, Values, and Character show earlier last month during White History Month, after my birthday. And It was a very good interview. It was going to last like a half an hour, but it lasted an hour and a half. So he broke it up into 3 parts, and I have them all on my channel. So you can go to Joel's like, sure did. I had Joel here. He set me up so I was in front of, in this nice studio rather than on my computer doing a cheap Mickey Mouse Skype setup. So I appreciate that, Joel. And it turned out to be a very nice interview. And we talked about Jesse Lee Peterson. We talked about White History Month. We talked about the need for men to stand up. And by the way, today, this is Men's History Month. This is my first show in Men's History Month. So happy Men's History Month to all. We talked about, with Toshon, we talked about the old school American men who just called out people. And that's like what Trump is doing. It's nice. We also talked about coolness. He brought up the point, Toshon made up a very interesting point to me, that part of the reason for Trump's draw and importance is he's rebranding America as cool again. Because, and he also says that Jesse's cool. And in the past, it has only been like the Black Panthers that are cool. And the Black Panthers are not cool in the sense that they're not good, but they have like powerful imagery, the raised fist, the black, and they use like communists. They kind of are communist types. So it's very similar, I pointed out, to like the Che Guevara image. Some of you may already know, most of you probably already know, this image of Che Guevara with his face all graphic, and it's just like a black on red. And so like all of that imagery, that communist propaganda imagery, is very powerful. And so Trump is very powerful in his branding. He brands people, and he has this Make America Great Again, and we're going to build a wall. It's very simple and direct. And Jesse does the same thing. He brands people as well, the fallen Messiah, the great white hope, the wicked witch of the West. And he has these sayings, these go-to sayings that even his enemies are repeating. Amazing. Or, you're of your father, the devil. And so Jesse's enemies will say Jesse is of his father, the devil, not knowing that they're being controlled by him. So it's very funny. We also talked about Louis Farrakhan. We would love to see Jesse interview Louis Farrakhan or Louis Farrakhan, because I don't think he's going to do it. We've tried to invite him on the show before. No response. We've interviewed his little lemmings, his little followers, who act all polite and nice, and they're just kind of cheap imitations of him. And we're kind of tired of those. He recommended one guy who may be interesting. I don't remember that guy's name. And then we also talked about my use of the N-word. In the past years, I have used the N-word, and it was put out on YouTube by an enemy of mine. And so he asked me if it had followed me, and you can find out the answer by listening to, that was part 3 of the show. So, one last quick thing before I get to the calls. You know what? I'm actually going to get to the calls. I'd rather just do that. Greg out of Connecticut has been waiting a while. Greg, thank you for calling.
Hey, you're welcome. By the way, I'm going to shift gears because you talked about LeBron James.
Yes.
The biggest sports station in Philly was really talking him up yesterday, what a good guy was.
Yeah.
So I called in, and I have to say, the guy, they usually only give you like about 30 seconds or a minute, and the guy gave me 3 minutes, and he ended up agreeing with me.
Wow.
That LeBron was not such a good guy, and he further trashed Don Lemon, and
nice.
he actually, I won some tickets for being the caller of the day.
Wow.
It's amazing. You know what the funny thing is, though? I mean, like Jesse says, just don't be angry, and
Yeah.
don't even worry about what you're going to say, and it all just came out better than I could have ever planned.
Yeah.
It was really good.
That is cool.
Yeah, so anyway, I think people are, the one thing I was able to tell him, I said, look, and then the guy ended up admitting that he was a Republican, the host. I said, I know that your media is every bit as liberal as fake news. And I know that you're not allowed to give your true opinion. You may be a very good guy, and you may think like I do. And he said, yeah, I'm a Republican. I did vote for Trump. So, but I mean, once I kind of got him off the hook by telling him that the pressure just to keep your job, if you're honest, in the sports field is as bad as the mainstream media.
Sports.
That's very interesting.
Sports reporters are some of the most disgusting liberals ever, and it's shocking to find this out. I never realized that they would be, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, liberals, as Dinesh pointed out, and others, Dinesh D'Souza and Evan Sayet, who's a conservative comedian, these people go into the do-nothing fields like they don't do anything. They just talk about the people who do stuff. And that was a point made by Evan Sayet, and it is so true. And so these sports so-called journalists, ESPN is one of the most corrupt stations that you can think of, with Jemele Hill, that disgusting black woman who hates white people and hates Trump and everything good. They're some of the most gross people that you ever want to see on TV.
Yeah, I completely cut the cable.
Yeah.
No television. It's so funny, and I started with the real withdrawal thing, and it's been to be such a blessing because I used to watch that much. I would sneak a look, or I'd sit down when I was eating, watching it, and then pretty soon I'd be watching longer than I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so it clears your mind. It really takes you out of the matrix. So that was good.
I'm glad that you spoke the truth to the lie that LeBron James is a good guy, because he's a nice guy. He wants to be a nice guy or something. He's not even really nice, but LeBron James, Stephen Curry, all these guys, even Obama to an extent, all these guys presented a fake nice facade. And even Stephen Curry is supposed to be a Christian, right? But in reality, these people they're evil. They're liberal. They support Obama, who is pro-abortion, pro-gay marriage, pro-transgender, anti-Christian, anti-white, anti-police. He increased the murders, the black-on-black murders across the country by undermining the police. And he was a nasty, disgusting person, and he brought in the illegals like crazy. He allowed them in. He sent them around the country, and he let in the refugees without, he doesn't care about America. He cares about transforming America. He hates America. That was one thing that I appreciated about Dinesh D'Souza back in 2012 when he came out with the 2016 Obama's America. He really exposed the guy for how even his mother hated America and Americans and white Americans and her parents and all that. She just went off and found colored guys from other countries to get with, and even this Indonesian guy who wanted to bring her around her people, she's like, these are not my people. And so she's like a disgusting person. And Obama is no different from her, from his mother. And so it's nice that you and Trump, I love that Trump is really going after LeBron and Don Lemon for this, because this is not petty. This is serious. This is the part of the brainwashing of black Americans and many Americans.
Yeah, it's amazing. Before I called, I was driving in the freeway, and I was kind of like in a traffic jam. I thought, do you really want to call? Why do you even want to subject yourself to that aggravation? And you know they're not going to give you a fair shake anyway. I said, well, just stay calm and, cool and calm. Just another guy, and this kind of ties into what you're just saying, and the clues are really there if you watch.
Yeah.
So Randy Moss, I don't know if you know who he is, but one of the better wide receivers in the history of the NFL.
Okay.
He was inducted into the Hall of Fame yesterday. And he wore a tie that on it had the names of all the quote fallen, BLM people.
Oh, jeez.
And I thought, well, that's interesting. So I went and watched on YouTube his acceptance speech.
Okay.
And the first thing he did was thank God and faith and family and something.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's interesting. This guy's coming out to be a Christian, so, I watched his speech and everything. And the last person in a 20-minute speech, he thanked. And in fact, he said, me and my mama are being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And what you see with him, and like I say, you will call these people bad, but they really do want to be good, and I do think they're doing the best they can in their fallen state.
Yeah, but they're wreaking evil and destruction and mass delusion on the people. They're causing more harm than good. That's why they should shut up and play. Laura Ingraham was right.
No, absolutely. I mean, it was amazing, though, that I think you would have to be a very aware person to watch his speech and pick up where he was going from. But he treated his speech very much like one of these emotionalized, evangelical black churches, and people loved it. He was shouting and blah, blah, blah. When they do these rhetorical statements, how they do it, do we love team? Are we team? That kind of thing. And it's all very hypnotic, but they somehow make it work for them.
Yeah.
Or at least in the short run.
These so-called nice blacks are doing kind of like what the gays do. Like they act all nice and they pretend to be your friend and they make you feel guilty for opposing them. So you start to support them just out of pure emotion. Meaning it's just like the Rules for Radicals thing. The Saul Alinsky in Rules for Radicals said a radical is not necessarily going to be dressed all crazy. He's going to be dressed in a suit and tie and very presentable, because that's what persuades people, and it's total deception.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between the emotionalized person who's temporarily lost and the pure evil person. And the diabolically evil person kind of intuitively understands how emotion works, and they themselves are not subject to it, but they're able to use it for their own cause.
Maybe but either way, the result is the same. They're really misleading people. Like Jesse said, this LeBron, he's a great deceiver. I appreciate it, Greg. What you doing in Connecticut, by the way?
Oh, Delaware.
Oh, okay, all right. Greg from Delaware.
Yeah, just getting
All
ready
right.
to hit the pool. See you, James.
Nice.
Bye.
All right, take care. Clinton out of Alabama. How's it going?
Hey, James, how you doing, man?
Doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Cool.
I was calling about LeBron and the school with everything free.
Right.
And it's a lot of people don't understand this. That's the worst thing that you can do, especially for the black community, because they already feel entitled because of how they have been brought up, through the welfare state, and everything's just been given to them. And then he's going to give them free college. So they're not going to know how to survive in the real world. If they have any type of adversity, you're basically breeding, how do you put this? You're basically breeding a class or a group of people that if they don't get their way, they're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to giving, everything is just given to them.
Right.
And I heard something very interesting what Jesse was talking about LeBron, about, all of the stuff that he went through at a very young age. And that's the majority of black people that are growing up in America. They are being raised by their mothers. And I remember talking to someone before, if a black kid really has to survive growing up, when it's just their mother raising them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't know how bad it is. I called you guys before, and I was telling you one time I was going to one of the public libraries, and I didn't know that there was a second one, and the second one was in where it used to be a bad part of Tuscaloosa. But I went over there, and man, I'm telling you, they live better than the majority of people in Tuscaloosa live. It is laid out over there. It's like really, really nice projects. They have a library, they have swimming pool, they have with a laundromat. I mean, everything is brand new there, and none of
Spoiled.
these kids read books. They nothing. Like, and everything is just given to them.
Yeah.
And I almost hit one of the kids the other day. I was heading over there to get another book, and he was just about to walk in the road, didn't even look or anything. And I had to basically stop, and I even went to the library and asked them about it. And they was just like, "Hey, man, this is just how it is. Like, their parents don't care." So it's just like, you need to have structure. You need to have men. You need to have these kids being held accountable, because I'm telling
Right.
you, man, I've grown up with a lot of these people, and their minds, it's not healthy. It's not good, because they've never really been tested. And I'm very thankful for, being tested as a child by my father, my father, my uncles, my granddad. I had to work for everything, and these kids are just getting everything free.
Yeah.
And that's never good.
It's interesting. Like some of the so-called poorest people in the country are also some of the most spoiled people in the country.
Yes, the rich. Like I when I go shopping, I only fill up where the baby is supposed to sit. That's all. That's all I can afford.
Right.
Unless I get some water or something. I get some water and I can put it out on the bigger part. But it was something that you spoke on. It's going to be kind of mixed together. You spoke on it last week, and Jesse spoke about this maybe about a month ago. But you talked about knowledge is poison.
Yeah.
And Jesse had spoke with a guy a while ago. I think he was from out of the country, but I want to let you guys know, and anyone that is listening, that I went to college, and I went to A&M University, and I went to the University of Alabama. And it was like what Jesse was saying, that we already have the gift. We already have the talent with us. And, I've wasted so much of my time in my life of going to school. And it's like everything that I'm doing now to make money and provide for myself and make, my future better, it has nothing to do with school.
Yeah.
I already have all of this stuff in me. And it was like, for so long, I was running from myself. And even when I got a job after college, like, I guess the big man up above, he used to like talk to me when I was sleeping, when I would wake up, because I kept just trying to be like, hey, I'm going to do this thing that, we've all been taught, go to school, become a company man, and, all that stuff. But that wasn't me. And everything that I'm doing now is just so natural. I didn't even need schooling for none of this stuff. And it's like, we're all, being told at a very young age, grow up, go to school, go to college, get a good job,
It's a
and
setup.
have a family. And that's really not, the way to live. It's just like, you just need to, become skillful in something, but you already got the am I making sense?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm...
No, it makes total sense, because like I think about all the things that I do or that I've done for work, and it was some of it I've used like a little bit of what I learned in college.
Right.
Like, for example, I went for graphic design, so I learned a little bit from Photoshop and Illustrator. But the majority of it is all on the job learning, learning as you're doing it and getting better and better at it as you're doing it.
Yep. And I was talking to a few people. I don't know if you guys have really been touching on it, but this is one big, big thing in the Black community. And it is there was the switch. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this back in the day, but a lot of people believe that there was a switch.
Oh,
that
you're talking
the
about...
Democratic Party is the good party, and the Republican Party is the bad party.
Yeah.
Have you heard this before?
I have heard this
was having
before. They call them...
Yeah, that is deep. That is very, very deeply rooted in a lot of people down here. Like, they strongly believe that the Democratic Party is really the Republican Party. I was even talking to a lawyer about this, and we went back and forth. And it was just like, man, this is probably like the 10th or 15th person that I've talked to that have said that they would be right there on the fence, and they'd be like, oh, no, that was a switch. And I was like, no, that was something that was probably created by the Democratic Party, because they started to see a lot of people, lean toward the right. But
Yeah.
a lot of people believe that. I don't know if you guys have heard it. What do you guys?
I've heard it before too, and like I've noticed that it seems like most of the KKK people that I know of today, they like Jesse a lot more than they like Jesse Jackson, say. But I think that's partly because most of the KKK type people today they're just angry and fed up with the immorality. And
Right.
I watched this movie by Dinesh D'Souza, The Death of a Nation. And
Yeah, I'm heading there now.
I've heard him say before that they claim that the Dixiecrats became Republicans, and that the real Democrats never were like that. Never were.
Right.
And it's to me it's kind of irrelevant. It's like an irrelevant conversation because the reality is today it's good versus evil, and the Democrats today are pure evil, and the Republicans today are at least their platform is correct. It's what's right.
Right.
And most Republicans are evil too, but it's just because most people are evil. But and very weak, by the way. But the problem is like you can't really get bogged down in because that comes down to like an intellectual argument. It's just one version of knowledge versus the other, just propaganda. Because you have to admit, like the alt-right support Trump because he is pro-white, which is a good thing to be. He's pro-America, which is a good thing to be.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that, though?
Yes, right. And the alt-right, they only get wrong when they start hating Jews or whatever. And when they, like, I don't think that they need to be... I don't know if they need to be as violent as they are in fighting back against Antifa. Maybe there's a better way to avoid those situations or whatever. And the alt-right's not the only people fighting, by the way. The Proud Boys are getting into these fights with Antifa, which, I mean, you have to defend yourself. So, and Antifa is pure evil. And he points out that Antifa, Dinesh points out that Antifa is actually fascists. And it's funny because like these communists are fascists. I mean, they're all different parts of the left, but to me, it's so much bigger and more important than left, right. And that's one thing that I like about Jesse is he breaks it down to just good versus evil. Yes, Jesse uses the word liberals a lot. He uses the word liberals because liberals are evil, but it's not just, it's really good versus evil. And that's all it is. And Dinesh, in his movie, he made the mistake of calling Hitler racist. Hitler was not racist, and he acted like Hitler was worse than those other fascists who had murderous regimes like Stalin and I forget who. Right. But Mussolini, the fascist from Italy. Mussolini he was basically a socialist communist, but he was a fascist. But guess what? Like Time magazine put Hitler on their cover multiple times. The liberals, like Woodrow Wilson, he was a Democrat, progressive. He loved the fascists, and he loved Mussolini, and I think he loved Hitler even. So these people are like evil. Oftentimes will side with its own, and then it'll turn on it on its own too, and then try to pin it on other people, and it's very much like they cause the problems and then swoop in with false solutions. So
well, I'll tell you this, man. I don't try to just jump into those conversations. A lot of people, they will ask me all because of all I do. I just apply myself. I execute every day. And I talk to a few people every once in a while. And once it comes down to the realness, I try to educate them and let them know that racism does not exist.
Right.
When you tell that to black people, man, they call you everything. Like they get very, 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 very angry, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really, I've been called everything under the book just by trying to educate people. And it's just like, you're blind at this point. Like, you don't even want to do the research yourself.
Right.
You don't even want hear me out at all. And just like what you were talking about, Jesse, it's just anger.
Right.
When I really look at the people and I, try to, see where they come from and what's going on, they're very, very angry, man. It's just so many people out here that are angry, that hate what happened to them at childhood, or they're angry with their mother or their father, and they can't see. And when you can't see, you really can't become, educated, because I admit I used to think a lot of these ways because that's just how
we
were brought up.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. Like, this was the more I started to listen to you all and get educated and, read up on Thomas Sowell and stuff, I started to really think back. I'll never forget this. I was in elementary school, man, and we were just like in third grade, and it was around election season, and one of the teachers, they were just talking to us about it, and I'll never forget this guy. It was a black guy. His name was Billy, and he was like, we black. We only vote Democrat. White people vote Republican. And just to see, like, that's been, like, indoctrinating us, like,
yeah, it's
since
funny.
we were children. You know what I mean? Like, and I kind of was just like, wow, what is that? What does that mean? Why did he even, say that? But we have been taught this stuff for a very, very young age, and that's why I kind of get it. I kind of understand.
Yeah.
Because,
with just
the
be patient with them.
Television, all of this different type of stuff. Even when I was watching The Little Rascals the other day,
now
that I look at, like, man, what is this stuff? I can't believe we're watching this as kids. Like, they putting all of this stuff in there. Did you see
all of this stuff. Did you see the meme of Jesse with Jesse on the buckwheat? Do you have that picture?
Oh no, I haven't.
We'll put it on the screen. Clinton, I gotta go. I gotta get to my other callers, but I appreciate the call.
Okay, man.
All right, take care.
Sir. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Jesse out of Indiana. Thank you for holding, sir.
Hi, it's Jesse. That's my name.
Yeah.
Hey, James.
Hey.
I just wanted to say, man, I love you guys. I've been listening to Jesse for a while, and I started listening to you through Jesse, and you know what I mean, you, Joel, and all y'all, just keep up the good work, man. And I listened to the last caller, and I totally agree, man. Like, since we were kids, it's put in us. Everything we watch, even when we had friends and stuff, it became commonplace that when you say a joke is like, it's almost like, oh, that's being white, and we do it unconsciously. But then as you grow up, I started noticing something. When God started opening my eyes to this, is like, maybe I'm the one prejudiced. It's like it unconsciously made us prejudiced, and I don't know how many of us forget about that word,
Right.
but yeah, that's what it was. But as I got older and I really started seeking the truth, I kind of came across you guys, and it pretty much confirmed everything I was seeing, and I could see it as a little boy.
Yeah.
And I read this book called Black Rednecks and White Liberals by Thomas Sowell.
Okay.
I actually read it on an audio book, and that really opened my eyes to. He states nothing but facts in the book. It's nothing of his opinion, so no words can be misconstrued.
Wow.
But as I was a kid growing up, I went to a private school in elementary school. But then when I got older, my parents we moved around kind of a lot, and I went to different schools, and I ended up going to a public school. And one thing the kids used to tell me is I talk white because I learned grammar at a young age, and I couldn't help that. I would even I would even kind of be dogged by my cousins. And like that last caller said something about when we were kids, he said we were supposed to vote Democrat. I unconsciously believed that for a long time, and I wasn't sure until I started really reading and looking in on things, and it really opened my eyes. And I woke up one day and was like, I'm a conservative. I hold these conservative values.
Yeah. It's not bad to like kind of poke fun about the acting white thing and all that, but
I don't even poke fun about it. I don't like my kids doing it. I don't want them to. I mean, it does happen, and I can't get don't deal with people in anger and things like that.
Right.
It's all how it affected me.
Right. But it's the
it's
the there's a justified resentment, and when you believe in racism, you like you feel justified in judging the so-called racist, and you become exactly what you're accusing the so-called racist of being, and that's what's happened to most blacks. They've
happened
judged
already.
whites just based on them being white, and the liberals do that too all the time. The media stirs really, like Trump had a really good tweet. I wish I had screenshotted it, but he pointed out that the media causes a lot of problems. The fake news hates me saying that they are the enemy of the people only because they know it's true. I am providing a great service by explaining this to the American people. They purposely cause great division and distrust. They can also cause war. They are very dangerous and sick. And that is so true, what he said there. Because, and it's not just the media, it's like blacks are doing it to their own people. And that is so wrong.
Can I make one more
and
last
that's what
point,
LeBron's doing.
James?
Yeah.
I'd be hearing these irate callers will call in Jesse and y'all and be like, brother.
Right.
Yeah, and they go on from that. How you gonna talk about? And one thing I think I heard when I was a kid is you can't fix no one else until you fix yourself first. And I take that as, if I'm black, I'm going to talk to somebody else black first. We got to deal with our own issues. We're too busy looking at everything on the outside, existential, when we should just change what is now. And if, we really take a look at the history of America, yes, there was blood, sweat, and tears, but it makes me also grateful, like very grateful, because, I'm just grateful to God, and I'm grateful to hear other callers of color, waking up to this truth, that we're all standing as Americans, like true Americans, one nation under God, the real God, not gold, oil, and drugs, but God, the King of Kings, the Creator. And he puts
I've never heard that before. Gold, oil, and drugs. As God.
That's their God. Yeah, so they're really lying to themselves,
Yeah.
That's their truth. But anyways, I'm going to let you get back to your rest of the calls. And
appreciate it, Jesse, and happy Men's History Month.
Oh, happy Men's History Month. Happy late White History Month.
Thank you.
And we're going to keep on creating history, you heard?
Yeah, that's right.
I just want to say hi to Joel. Keep doing your thing, and take care, Mr. James.
Appreciate it, Jesse, and thank you, Joel, on behalf of Joel. Or
all right, y'all.
Say thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Like I'm his mama. Say thank you. Maze, how are you out of Dayton, Ohio?
Hello, James.
Hey, how are you doing?
All right.
Oh,
I like
not marvelous.
To see what's the problem with you and LeBron James. I mean, what is it you don't like about what he's doing?
Well, I don't like that he's promoting lies such as like Obama's a good guy and Trump is a bad guy. I don't like that.
Well,
he's also I also don't like what he's doing. Like he's spreading this victimhood thing where these black kids, he's literally telling black kids that they're always going to just be thought of as an N-word, and life is always going to be tough. But
to some people they will be. Don't you think so?
Yeah,
I mean,
mostly in the eyes of other black people.
No, you cannot speak for black people.
And in the eyes of other Hispanic people.
And that's all the problem you got with him?
That is the main problem I have with him. Okay. And then he's promoting this education, which is just brainwashing.
What's wrong with that?
Brainwashing. It's not good.
He's doing it with his own money.
No, it's not just his own money. He's doing it in partnership with public education over there. He's doing it not just his own money. And, this is affecting kids' lives. He's misleading them. He's the Pied Piper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It sounds like you don't want those kids to do anything with themselves, or you don't like the program that he had.
You're putting words in my mouth because I want the kids to do their own thing.
Like. If I would have said, James, you were saying this as it sounds like. So
I know, but it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like that to you because like you're blind or your ears are closed. Because if you just heard the caller Clinton, he pointed at
I don't want to hear nothing out of
from Alabama.
No.
Let me finish my point though.
Okay.
Because you said it sounds like I don't want these kids to do anything make anything of themselves or something along those lines.
I mean, that's the opinion that I'm getting out of you.
I know, but that's not reality. I'm telling you that they're getting brainwashed at these stupid schools. Whereas Clinton made the point that these people are getting spoiled by all this free stuff. It's actually reverse education. It's brainwashing
Okay.
and it's diluting them.
So you
It's
gonna say the
making them
farmers, everybody
spoiled
that
and
get
lazy.
free stuff, everybody that get free stuff, like the farmers and all these people that get free stuff, or people get stuff.
Yeah,
to start their own
I'm
businesses
again.
get.
I don't mind
What do
if
you
you
call it?
take that away too, but we're talking
Oh, I
about
wouldn't.
black, whether I want black kids to succeed or not.
Oh, that's what it sounds like. You don't want them to. So now can
But
I
that's
get
not
to-
true, Maze.
Okay. Well, can I get to the Democratic and the Republicans? Now, if Ronald
right,
Reagan
sure.
was Ronald Reagan a Democrat at one time?
Yes.
Okay. And so you had a whole lot of them that was Democrats at one time. What party were they in when they died?
Ronald Reagan was a Republican when he died.
Okay. So there's nothing wrong with them doing what they were doing for being in either party they wanted to be in.
Right.
If you're doing the same thing you were doing in the party that you left, are you changing anything, or you staying change the party?
I think Ronald Reagan may have changed a little bit.
In Sessions in Alabama, he changed all the time. He go from Democrat to Republican to
Sessions?
stay in office.
You're talking about
Yes,
Sessions?
ask him, the little fellow that you got in Alabama. To see if he
The
knew
little
what he-
fellow. You're talking about
Yeah.
the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions?
Richard Shelby, he does it too.
All right.
Richard Shelby,
Yeah,
he's good at doing it.
I mean,
He's a Republican now.
I don't have a disagreement with you on most politicians. They're kind of disgusting
They're all the
people.
same to me. So why you
No,
saying
they're not all
like
the same because Trump is not the same as them. I don't
Really?
believe.
I mean,
Right.
I heard the lady said it. One lady that was mad that she's a Republican. She said he's not a Republican.
Yeah,
so I
I
don't know
know
what
there's
he
a lot
is,
of
really.
rhinos who don't like Trump.
Oh, he's a tree of logic. Yes, but what you said this morning about them fake Republicans, black Republicans,
Yeah.
they will sell their mama for $1. See,
Maybe so. I don't know.
That's why I don't belong to a Republican Party or
I
a
mean,
Democratic Party. I
but
don't
you
belong to
shouldn't base
parties.
it on other people. You should base it on the principles.
I'm
And I would
putting
think
it on
that
the- I base
would
it
think
on
that
what-
you agree with the principles of the platform of the
what
Republican
platform?
Party, which is like
No, I don't. I don't like
anti-abortion.
neither one of them platforms.
You
I don't
support
like their
abortion?
platform. None of the platforms that they have.
I know, but
Because-
there's some good stuff in the Republican platform.
Really.
I have a caller who really wants to talk to you, Tim from
Let
Louisiana.
me finish first before I talk to your caller.
All right.
And as I was saying, you listening to him. He don't need to be trying to educate nobody. He need to go get educated himself when it comes to the
Talk about
Democrat
LeBron?
or the. Excuse me. Just tell him to look and see who's in the parties and where they went and what are they doing now. Same thing they were doing in the party that they left.
I don't know who or what you're talking about, though. So, I mean, it's like you have to be more specific.
And if it is not godly, you shouldn't be stepping in it anyway if you're supposed to be a Christian.
All right.
Because he won't let them through the gate. Because a whole lot of them, if he
I
had
know.
to come down on this earth today,
Yeah,
y'all
that's,
gonna be burning
that's
deeper
pretty
in the
scary.
Mhm.
So,
And then when it
anyways,
comes- okay.
you
Now
ready?
I can talk to your caller.
You ready for Tim? Okay. Tim from Louisiana, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, James? Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Hey, Maze.
Hello.
So, Maze, quick question. When are you going to enroll for LeBron's new school?
What did you say?
When are you going to
When are you going
to enroll in LeBron's new school?
I don't have no reason to be enrolling in LeBron's school.
Because you need you in education.
You know, I don't have a school. I need to
You
enroll
didn't
you
go
in a
to
school of godly,
No,
you know,
I
like
already
the commandment, love thy neighbor as
How far
thyself.
is Akron from Dayton?
How far is Akron from Dayton?
Yeah, just out of curiosity.
Look on the
You
map.
could probably
You
walk
tell me.
there, Maze.
You got a computer. That's what I'm saying. You
Maybe
gonna tell me I
right
need to
now.
enroll in somebody's school, and you don't know how far Dayton is from. I don't have time for stupidity. God don't like
So,
ugly, and He don't like
Maze,
what
do
you're
you
doing.
seriously think that this
But
school
James-
is going to be a good thing for the kids in that
But James,
community?
look up the Tree of Logic and tell me about it.
Tree of Logic? You mean that woman?
Yeah, the Tree of Logic. You gonna have her on your show?
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to. She's a
When you
she's a
gonna
nice
get her?
woman for an atheist.
She's not an atheist.
For a skeptic.
But I'm saying, when are you gonna have her on the show? Is Jesse gonna debate her? Are you
Jesse's
gonna
had her
debate
on before. Yeah, we'll bring her back on. That's a nice
Well,
idea.
yes. But I'm saying, when you have a mind that's not in use, if you're not gonna use it, just let it rest.
I know.
Because some people are not gonna be able to travel out of this country. If you like to travel, as an American, they ain't gonna look at you as being a Caucasian. They're gonna look at you as an American, and you ain't gonna be able to do nothing but stay right here. Those that love to go have fun on the other side of the world,
All right.
it's not gonna happen.
Appreciate it,
Just
Mace.
because of the stupidity that they're looking at of the people that's over here with all of this hatred and saying it's not.
Thanks again, Mace.
She's still
Take care.
going.
And so y'all need to clean y'all soul, because God ain't gonna let y'all in His gate.
I know. We got to clean up our act. Very
Now
much
with
so.
even this-
I agree
what?
with that.
Yeah, and LeBron's what he's doing. I'm asking you, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad thing.
And you told me what you didn't like, so he can take his own money and do what he want to do with it, even if you don't like what he had to say. Freedom
It's
of
not
speech.
that I don't. It's not just that I don't like. It's just that it's evil.
But he's not begging anybody to do it. He's doing it with his own money.
In partnership with other like liberals.
If he got partners that he finished school with. That don't. If he never played another day of basketball, he don't have to.
All right.
Because he fixed himself so he could have his own. Just like the other guy said, he had his own business by not going to school and this, but he needs some help.
Yeah.
And then sounding white. You know what killed me, Jane? When you get a black person that's dating a Caucasian person, but they're whiter than the Caucasian person that they date. And it's so funny.
All right. Gotta go, Mace.
That's
Take
what
care.
you got that called you this morning. So you have
Bye, Mace.
All right. Bye. Tim, what was your what's up? What do you want to say about LeBron James' school?
Oh, LeBron James. LeBron James, dude. I don't understand how or why he'd waste his money to make a free school for these kids when number one, these kids aren't going to appreciate it. Number two, they're not going to get a real education there. It's just going to be like an indoctrination station. There's going to be a whole bunch of like left-wing liberal propaganda pushing. Like if you think the brainwashing in public schools is bad, like LeBron's school, that's going to be like Mamma Mia, hola, and everything else bad.
You know, Bezzy Blue TV is in the live chat asking, how can you hate LeBron but support Trump? What an oxymoron. You're a moron.
What does she even mean? Oh my goodness.
And it's not necessarily hate of LeBron. I mean, yes, there is some hatred towards LeBron because people are hateful people. Like even conservatives are hateful people. But LeBron, I mean, what Jesse says about LeBron is pure love. He's telling LeBron to forgive his mother and all that. So Bezzy Blue, you don't know what you're talking about.
Jesse is trying. Yeah, you're right about Jesse. Like showing
Are you
love to
playing
LeBron.
that?
He wants to he's,
How come I don't hear it though?
we can't hear it, man.
Yeah. Anyway, he says, LeBron, imitate him for us, Tim, real quick. LeBron James.
LeBron James.
I appreciate it, Tim.
Yeah, dude.
Anything else?
Thanks, man. Oh no, well, but yeah, a quick note about being a Trump supporter and then trying to correct LeBron. It's nothing personal against LeBron. What LeBron's doing is pure evil, and he doesn't love those kids. If he loved those kids, he'd find a way to show them how to appreciate what they want to work for. You know?
Yeah.
That's how you develop a appreciation for things in life. You know.
Yep.
Just like your first caller said. You know, your first caller was on point, like 200%.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
definitely.
that's all, man. And
all right.
please,
Appreciate it, Tim.
Don't forget to sign up.
All right. Take care, Tim.
Thank you, man. Bye.
All right. Let me go to Mark out of Los Angeles. Mark, how's it going?
Hey, James, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
I just wanted to make a comment because, you know, we say the words like fascist, communist, socialist, Marxist, and that all used to confuse me.
Right.
I was just like, I'm not sure what each one means and why do they all. And I think something very relevant is that the alt-right, they're very, like, polite sounding. They're very well spoken. They say a lot of good things, but they're essentially the same. We have to remember that alt-right stands for alternative, right? It's an alternative to right. It's not conservative. You know, they do believe in big government, and fundamentally they believe in blaming their problems on other people, namely Jewish people.
Right.
So whenever you are dividing people by group identity, whenever you're saying it's not, you know, our fault, it's whitey, or it's the Jews, or it's these racists, it's whoever, whenever you're doing that, and then you have this like mob mentality, you're fundamentally a Marxist. And that's what communists do, that's what leftists do, that's what socialists do. You know, it's by class, the haves versus the have-nots.
It's kind of what atheists do. It's because it's all this. It's, I mean, what's his name? Hitler was supposedly for this survival of the fittest thing, and then
Darwin.
Yeah, and Hitler was for it too. I think he followed after what Darwin was about, and and you know, like a lot of these alt-right people are atheists, and I haven't heard not all of them blame Jews that much. But they definitely I mean, Richard Spencer is an atheist. He doesn't believe in the right to defend, he doesn't believe in natural rights. He believes the rights are from the state. He doesn't believe that they're from God. And I mean, looking at it on a physical level, he's kind of right, because as we get more godless, our rights get taken away. And it's what's happened to America. It's what's happened to white people, losing their right to free speech, because they're just living in fear, and they're pretending to be for God, but they're not. And same thing with the blacks. They're godless people, even though many of them go to church, or many of them try to turn Muslim, but they're godless people. They're Marxists. They're very socialist people, you'll notice.
Right, and the opposite of that is exactly what you just described. It's God-given rights, unalienable rights, however you want to call it. When that's what you support, you believe in equal rights under the law. You don't believe in treating people differently. You don't believe in giving people free things because, poor guy, and I want to feel good about myself.
Yep.
And that's what the Great White Hope is all about. He's all about bringing jobs back, not welfare. He's not about increasing entitlement. He's not about. He's about treating people fairly. He's about a booming economy. He's about a strong border. And it's just so amazing to me that people call him every name in the book.
Right.
And they want to divide in the name of tolerance and love and acceptance. And it's baffling.
Right. I appreciate it, Mark. Hope to see you in church if you're around. Seems like you are if you're in Los Angeles.
Yeah, on my way.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. No isms. Yeah, like Joel says, all these isms is just confusing. It's just good versus evil. And they try to demonize the different isms, but one ism tries to demonize another. It's just good versus evil. Most people are evil. So go to church. If you go into the little information thing at the top of the screen, you'll see, you tap this thing at the top corner. You'll see Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel. Go there and you'll see Church with Jesse Lee Peterson in 1 hour at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, callers, I can't get to any more of you. Goodbye.
Yeah.